All right, it's live, so we're good.
Okay. Tell me if you can hear. Can you hear this? Could you hear
Yep.
that?
Yep. Perfect.
Make sure of that. Let me turn that down. I have it loud for our back issues theme that I made for Eric. All right, here we go. All right, time for a Patreon spotlight. I'm here with Brandon, who what is it that you told Eric he has to say?
Oh,
that I always screw it up. Is it
power on that Patreon spotlight?
Power on that Patreon spotlight. Yes, I was figuring right as we were going to go into it, I was going to try to remember. I'm like, why should I remember? The guy who came up with it is here. So yes, this is a Patreon bonus spotlight. I'm here with Brandon, and we're here to talk about DC. What is it called?
It's called Gotham City Garage.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say it's DC Gotham Garage.
Yeah, and it's also weird because I don't think that's the name of the city when we start talking about
it's true. It's not. I don't think it is. Now, maybe that's where they're coming from, though they pretty much spell out that there's no other city left in the world. But this is Gotham City Garage, and it is a book that came out or is going to come out this week. We're actually recording it a little earlier, and I do think I'm going to put it up a day early anyway to get some hype up for it because I don't find it having any hype whatsoever. No, and this is the week.
Not been well advertised.
No, not at all. And it comes out on Wednesday, the 16th, the Wednesday of this week that we're recording. And DC rarely, if ever, sends out a review copy of a chapter of a digital book. So either they are very confident that this is going to get people's, attention and be real. Like the reviewers are going to read it and go, man, this is awesome. Yeah. Or they just want to get any sort of word out because, it really has had no word. We knew about it because when you first heard about it, you were like, you said right away, you said to me, you wanted to review it. It seemed like something you would like, but I didn't know it was coming out this week.
It was just by chance like a news story I stumbled upon, and I didn't even know when it was coming out. I'm just like, I'll do it whenever it comes out, and this is the week, I guess.
Yeah, and then I sent you the review copies, and I said, you want to do a bonus spotlight for the, Gotham City Garage? And you were like, what? That was in there?
Yeah, I totally glanced over it.
Yeah, when you look, because I didn't expect it to be, and it is coming out now. It's coming out the week of, Metal and things like that. So there is a good chance. I really hate when
in the lineup.
It will be. And I really hate you have all of these days to release these digital books. I hate when they grab a title and release it on Wednesday. That's utter nonsense to me because nobody is looking at their digital releases the day that they go to the comic book store. Now, it's going to be bi-monthly. So twice a month, this is going to come out. We're assuming that it's 99 cents a pop when you get it, but it will be collected in October as a print issue. So maybe when that comes out, it'll get a little bit, but you have a little blurb about it and then we'll get into it. So you can go ahead.
All right. We got, again, Gotham City Garage, #1. I think that's why I overlooked it too, because I had no idea that was the title.
Yeah, I completely forgot what the title. I really came prepared. I didn't even know the title of the book.
I know. This is #1, story by Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing, art by Brian Ching, Kelly Fitzpatrick. Digital first, so it'll be 99 cents, and then comes out Wednesday, unfortunately. So the blurb is, what do you do when you have little to no family left? Batman and Lex Luthor have seemingly taken over the apocalyptic world, and your freedoms are tested daily. You adopt a Kryptonian and let the rest take care of itself. That's what.
Yes.
So let's get into this extremely quick and kind of to the point first chapter of Gotham City Garage.
Yeah, no, it is so quick. I even messaged you. I had already read it once, but then when I read it again, it's like quicker even. It's 10 pages. It's basically 10 pages in the digital format. And you even said our review copy is a little odd that it seems to be based on how they'll print it out eventually, but it's also an odd digital. If you've been reading digital first, like Injustice 2, which is awesome. And if you're not reading that, you should. it's the way that the digital first are. It's like big panels, big, pages and things like that.
Like
now,
2 to a page max.
Yeah. Yep. Like like 2 panels per page. They're very big. The art is really up front and center. And I really like it. And it's a way you kind of get in that groove. I even said to Eric, Eric does not like to review digital first stuff. He doesn't like to do the digital stuff. He tried to do it with Mortal Kombat. He started out with Bombshells and things like that. But what he does, he basically says there's not enough in an issue for him to really review it. He has this weird thing where he has trouble. Now, I was doing Injustice back then. You never really have problem with that. There's always shit going on. Like every panel means something.
You do always want more though. Like by the time it ends, you're like, oh God damn it.
Yeah, because really it's so good.
Yeah.
This is a little different. This is, like I said, it's a really quick read. It's just, I don't know yet. I can't get a grip on this book yet. You're going to review it for the site. So I wonder, how you're going to go with this, but it definitely comes off because it's based on the DC statue line, the Gotham City Garage. Now, again, you have that statue line out. You said you don't even know how many statues there are out yet.
Just the official one Wonder Woman one. But I mean, I'm not a statue collector, so I don't stay up on all that news,
And it's so funny because they go with the Gotham City Garage name from the statues. But like you said, once you get into it, we're not really sure there is a Gotham City here. It doesn't seem to be because there's one less city on Earth. But we'll just get right into it here, where you start off and there's a little prelude to show you that basically there is a military based on Robot Batman, it seems, at this point when you first
Batman's back on his bullshit here with other eye or something going on. Who knows?
Something is going on, and they're going, it looks like they have gone out to like a homestead. They're burning it down and they're about to execute a family. And you get a basic narration that you find out later pretty much is Supergirl's narration, where she has these dreams and heard stories and all this stuff of how they have such a dark world. And this is like an apocalyptic world. And, everybody has stories and dreams and things like that, but you're not supposed to. It's like almost like a brother eye, like you said, even in 1984 type deal. Yeah. And as you see these Batmen trying to, kill people, you see basically a motorcycle coming in and then a silhouette of basically Wonder Woman set against the sun, jumping out. And it's a very odd opening. Like
she looks like she's got a giant club hand. The one coming from
that one hand looks like it's like 5 times the size of a regular hand. It's crazy. Like she's gonna go and freaking bitch slap somebody with that hand. But yeah, she shows up, and it's a cold open. You don't even know what that is. You don't have any idea what's going on. And I do think that it's gonna take a couple of chapters to really figure out, what has happened, because by the end, if I'm not mistaken, I couldn't tell you what happened to this world to make this like this. I can't tell you that this is, I'm assuming it's like Injustice. It's an Elseworlds type story, but I can't tell you that for sure. But it seems that way. But you open then at the garden. It's called The Last City on Earth. Lutheris. 35 years, and I'm like,
I'm glad you pronounce that word.
Lutheris
forever, and I'm like, I don't know what that's telling me.
And it's almost, and it just says Lutheris 35 years, and to me, it's basically this is, and you find out later that the city was pretty much created and maintained by Lex Luthor, but it almost seems to me that's almost like instead of like 300 AD. This is how whatever happened, this apocalypse, since then, they go by the time Lutheris is what that's what I get. That it's like 35 years post Luthor. And it's crazy. And you see it. It's like a dome. It's in the middle of a desert.
Mad Max Thunderdome stuff.
Yeah. And then before we even go on, I just want to mention if you remember Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing seem familiar to you. They actually were the ones who ended up finishing up Grayson, which got a little wonky at the end of the DCYOU, the New 52. And I remember, and Brandon, you were listening to the podcast then, and me and you were both Grayson fans. I gave them a lot of leadway, though, because they really did get stuck with the shit that Tom King and Tim Seeley just left on the table. Yeah. And they didn't do a horrible job. But here's the thing. Do you know what your favorite thing? Do you know right now? I'm going to quiz you. What your favorite Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing moment was of all time? Do you know what it is?
I don't.
It's they did the Bane Skip to My Lou issue
yes,
in Batman and Robin
Eternal.
Eternal. They were that was them. They also were the ones that, if you were listening to the podcast back then, they unfortunately,
bat spray, right?
Yes, they were the shark repellent that I went ballistic and got so angry and fought with people on the site and on the podcast. So I've had a love-hate relationship. Now, in the meantime, they actually, I've talked to Colin Kelly a couple of times on Twitter. Seems like a great guy. He actually seems very nice. And they do come as a package deal.
Are they TV guys? I feel like this is a TV guys.
They are TV guys. I forget what TV show they were involved with, but they are TV guys, and that is what led them to meet Alyssa Milano. So I could even guess that maybe they did a little stuff with Charmed, things like that. That's just me guessing, but they did do a comic called Hacktivist that was created by Alyssa Milano, and got to work with her. And I told Colin Kelly, he's a lucky son of a bitch to get to work with her. I mean, especially for a guy who grew up in the 80s. Holy moly. But the other thing that I want to mention before we go on into the thing, Brian Ching on art is the artist on Supergirl. And if you listen to our regular podcast, which this is Patreon only, so I would assume that most have heard our podcast. I don't know why I said that.
Just listening to the Patreon.
No, they just joined Patreon just to join this. But yeah, you would know that me and Eric especially, Eric really hates Brian Ching's art. I don't like it either. Usually in the Supergirl book, it's very, it has a lot of moments where there's no detail. And you get that a little bit in here with like crowds in the background and stuff like this. There's even a point where you have the main character, which happens to be Kara Gordon, which is an adopted Supergirl. She's walking down the street. She don't have no face. She's
there's a couple panels on the next page we're about to hit that are a little
and that's where we get, it drives us nuts. But I think that actually this is probably the best art I've seen him do, and maybe it is because it really is only 10 pages that he could take his time and do it. And there's only a couple of those really wonky parts. But if you're reading Supergirl, the minute Kara shows up in this book, they're trying to play at that you don't know who it is. Though I said to Brandon in the credits, if you're actually a guy who reads the credits, it does say Supergirl based on the characters created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. So, and right away you see Kara, you're like, okay, the jig is up. I see what it is. But if you're reading Supergirl in the Rebirth, you'll know just from the way he draws. He's drawing her pretty much exact to how he draws her in the, Rebirth. So that's not a bad thing, I guess. But yeah, you start off in the garden and you basically go to where these guys are just, I guess this is Kara's work. Like, I know. There's not a lot of, I
thought they were on a spaceship at first.
I did too.
Like, there's no spaceship because they're stuck in this dome.
They're stuck in this thing. I thought they were on a spaceship too. I actually thought that, and got a little excited, thought that this was going a little Fantastic Four-way, that you would have there where there was going to have some issues and maybe this would be them coming. But no, they live in this garden. They're basically, to me, I would guess that they are like higher ups. She's definitely in the government because she uses her, her government pull. But basically they're just there. They're at the computer. They're working. They have L's on their, they have their outfits on. So they must be someone in the government. And there's talk of this mandatory update the next day. We're having a system-wide patch and update, and where it pulls around is this is not a computer update. This is a people update. That the people are being pretty much controlled.
That's why I thought right away like Batman and Brother Eye, but it seems to be a Luthor thing more. It
seems to be a Lex Luthor thing, and even when you see him,
the police force. Yeah,
Batman seems to be the police force. You see this Kara Gordon, and basically it's like this whole thing with Lex loves you. It's like kind of like the religion of Lex. They're the Lex cult living in here. And I'll tell you, if he made this city, and this is a dome, it's the last city on Earth, the hell with it. I would do the same thing. I mean, he's keeping them all alive. They should worship Lex. But, you go with the whole thing where you have to show right away that all is not kosher in the garden by a guy who seems to malfunction. And you have these Batman guys going around. I don't know if they're full androids or if they're just guys dressed up as Batman, but they sense a citizen malfunction. And in the meantime, Kara's just kind of talking about how she's the unluckiest person in the garden because she's exceedingly normal except where it counts. And just aside, it is Supergirl. Now, the thing is, they're in a dome. Sunlight doesn't go in the dome. It seems as if the sunlight is being changed or somewhat filtered through this dome, even to the point where it might even be, red sun. So I don't
that's
know.
what they mentioned at one point, because they're like the red. They mentioned specifically red sun. So he has to know there's Kryptonians in here that he's keeping.
Yes, that's the whole thing, is like almost like he has made this. So I would guess, I don't know that we're going to see, say, a Superman, but we see Batman, and maybe it is that sort of thing, like keeping Superman at bay. But there is red sunlight in there that's keeping Kara, normal. She thinks she's just a normal girl. She has no idea. She thinks that Commissioner Gordon, is her father.
Yeah, the other thing that I get out of this, I feel like she's not like somebody that's updated. Like she works for the company, and she doesn't go through those updates everyone else.
And I think that what she says, when she says the unluckiest girl in the garden, exceedingly normal except where it counts, I think that that's the whole thing, because she says dreaming about a mythical Wonder Woman and pretending to sing along with the tune I can't hear. It's obvious that whatever's happening, it doesn't take to her. But also she doesn't seem to be, these Batmen who, can go citizen malfunction detected, they don't seem to know anything about her. Now, in the meantime, her father, Jim Gordon, does seem to know exactly what she is, knows what's going on. And what you get in a back, as you can infer to this, has told Kara probably a million times, don't do anything stupid. Just, you have to stay low. Don't point yourself out, because what happens is the citizen is basically his brain chip, whatever it is, this programming is malfunctioning, and they're going to terminate him. They're going to execute him. And she comes in with this and says, hey, stop, authorization, ride along technician. And that's what she's a ride along technician, I guess, is what they spell out. But it's KG 831 Gordon K, let me throw in, and basically goes and fixes him. And does fix him. She has
Doesn't he look like he's bleeding out of the eyes?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. Like, I don't know what's going on. And when it seems like they're going against their programming, they have this like zzz, Isaac, zzz, and that's what happens to Gordon through the whole time as well. So I think that she is also allowing her father to survive through that. But yeah, he's bleeding through us. It's crazy stuff. But she makes this so this kid does not get killed. The problem is she's been seen. They've seen her do whatever that is, and it seems like they're after her, because she goes back to talk to her dad, and he's just like, he is malfunctioning. It seems like the same way. And he says, listen, they know. And she's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you're scaring me. And he goes, good. You should be scared. And he got the call to the office. He's kind of on the lookout or whatnot. And yeah, it looks like he's bleeding. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But then she's like, listen, or he says, listen, when I found you, you were a little thing, so weak under the dome, the red sun, like you said, so vulnerable. And she's like, what do you mean found me? And she's like, my daughter and whatever, you remind me of my daughter, meaning Barbara's probably dead.
Yeah, well, you can see her in the background of that picture.
Yeah, she's there in that picture. It's weird because they are together. You're right. They see him there. And it's funny. She's like, I am your daughter, Dad. And then she's like, you are, and I love you so much, but you have to run. He's here. And then Batman comes crashing through the wall and looks awesome. And again, I'm not a fan of Batman
from the Batman Superman movie when he's in that flashback or whatever.
It really does. He's got the coat and everything. It looks really cool. And I'm saying that I don't like Brian Ching's art. I'll mention it again. I think this is his best thing he's ever done at DC, as far as I can tell. And this panel is probably my favorite panel that he's ever done. It looks really cool.
Cool panel.
But yeah, he just tosses Gordon aside, and then he just chases, goes after Kara. And then that's when Gordon says, get to the sun. And she goes off, and she's basically, dodging them. You see a lot of tech. You also see like the Bat Cycle looks very, freaking movie-esque, that whole deal while it's shooting. And you see, this is where you even see where you guess. I guess these robots that she goes to, because she goes these robots, I guess those are more like just RoboCop robots.
Yeah.
They don't look like
they start getting real RoboCop looking towards the end here.
Yeah. And I just wonder if that was like, he didn't take time for that, or this is just different things. But she goes to him and kind of reprograms them to shoot at the dome, and the dome cracks open. And as the sun comes in, basically she just starts flying. She flies out of the dome, and she's like, hey, I'm flying. You see her going, and then kaboom, she just gets shot down.
Yeah, like the first time she's discovering she can.
Yeah, and she just gets shot down. And then she falls. You have the Batman. Now they're the Batman robot guys. They come out and they're about to shoot her. And that's when the pretty much the gist of this book, I guess, is going to be where you have the road warrior women of the DCU, which is Silver Banshee, Big Barda, Harley Quinn, and Catwoman. They come in on their cycles. And again, it looks pretty damn cool. Now, at the moment where it stops here, because that's it, it ends at the moment, like the Batman are not taken care of yet. They are fully going to shoot Kara
they got
and everybody else.
Right at her.
Yeah, and it even if this is the thing, we even had this in the Supergirl book from this week or last week in our podcast. Anytime you have a gun in the DCU and it's pointed at Kara at all or Superman and glows green, you can only assume it's a kryptonite gun. I say that all the time and I'm always wrong, but they are glowing kind of with a green hue. And again, it points out like, what is Lex up to? You know what I mean? Like he is this, and really, is that going to be the whole thing? Is this book going to be based on Kara convincing these road warrior women to free the people of the garden? Is it going to be she's going to go off and they have their own things? But you can only expect that Lex is going to be pissed and do something about it. But from this first chapter, I don't know. I really,
it's it leaves you a lot of questions.
Oh my God, there's not.
But where my mind went is I think, you know, it's kind of like a Injustice type thing where maybe Superman went bad again. You know?
I want to know.
It's a lot of protections for Kryptonians in this entire city, like your green glowing guns, the red sun stuff. Like
everything seems based. Now I say that why this dome with the last city on Earth was, it should have been a little stronger than just some robot shooting it and just breaks it. You would think it'd be a lot stronger than that, have a force field, but it works. But I want to know what's going on with them. But I would guess that Kara living in the garden, they're not going to give you the accurate history. Like she probably doesn't know anything of what happened in the outside world. Just that they're at the last city and Lex is the greatest guy ever because, you know, he was great to make the city. I'm expecting these. First off, I was expecting them to mention that just because it's the last city, but I was expecting her to think that outside the dome was completely you could not go out. You would die instantly. One of those things where, you know, oh, don't go out. It's poison. The air is poison or whatever. And then when she goes out desperate to try to go, finds out that that's a lie. Like it would have been the first lie she heard. So I'm actually surprised they didn't do that. And then basically say anybody who lives outside are mutants and things, but they don't set up, really don't set up much at all. But it's at the end, I tell
little Mad Maxy when you get outside for sure with you know these thrown together motorcycles and like Harley's looks like the sidecar is an old airplane. It looks
like an old airplane, even an old airplane type ride at like an amusement park.
Like
even
put
it looks
a quarter in something like that.
And I told you the thing that I love the most in this, I thought was the best, is she does have the sidecar with her hyenas in it. It made me laugh. But yeah, even like you look at the motorcycles, even at this point, you don't fully get a full like Big Bart is there, and you see the motorcycle isn't as tricked out as I would have liked. I would have liked to have seen these motorcycles more along the lines of the character, and maybe we'll get that in the coming up issues. But something like this, even that stupid Wacky Raceland book, that was awful, and those Hanna-Barbera stuff, and people were arguing about, and I told them it'd be canceled, and it finally was. But even then, the big push of that were the vehicles, and to see the vehicles like this should be, to me, you know, the vehicles should be a little more intricate.
That's the selling point of the statues, right? If I'm not mistaken.
And that's why I wish that, and I hope that it actually gets a little better with that. But anything else about it that you want to say? Because it's very quick.
It is quick. There isn't a whole lot to cover. It leaves you with a lot of questions about what's gone on and what will happen. I don't know. I think these girls might take Kara with her and reveal another city and more shit.
That's what I think. You're going to the freaking Thunderdome before another issue. They're going to go, and it'll be, that's where I said, I wish that they would have set something up. And maybe Carol will just say, I was told that nobody could live out here in the wasteland. And you'll see that they actually have a primitive, and while it'll be primitive, they live free. And they live hard. That's what I think. I mean, because they're, you know, she's going to be all excited. And she's at this moment, I mean, granted, she is out in the open. She's Supergirl. So she might just get up and save their asses from these Batmen.
Yeah, they might not have any powers for all we know.
Yeah, so she might get up and just start kicking the ass of everyone. And then you'll get like a hokey, like a prophecy of the one to come. And then you saw Wonder Woman at the beginning. She's been having these dreams about Wonder Woman. So I would expect to hear more about that.
Yeah, I think Wonder Woman's one inside the dome. These girls are outside, and maybe they're going to start crossing.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what's going on. But what do you think you'll give it? I know we haven't reviewed it yet. This is early in the week.
No,
but what do you think?
I don't know. I liked it enough. Like that makes me want to come back and keep checking it out. I thought my initial reaction would probably be around a 7.5, 8-ish.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 7.5, and it's a positive 7.5. I'm actually surprised that I enjoyed it as much. Actually, while we were talking about it, I enjoyed it a little more. So
it is cool. It grabbed me. It definitely did.
Yeah, and it definitely doesn't hold your hand, though. It's not one of those where you start off and they have narration like, Lextown, shit went wrong. You really are left to figure shit out. But I like the idea of Batman kind of being the police force, or at least a bunch of guys dressed as Batman, and no Superman to be seen. And that red sun, like you said, I want to see that. Hopefully it spells that all out and says that maybe it is. Maybe the Justice League, part of them went crazy because you don't see anybody else from the Justice League in here. And, Silver Banshee is crazy. I'm looking at it again. I'm like, yeah, hell's she doing? But Catwoman's cool. And it goes.
Yeah, those are four really random. Like you think you'd go with the immediate girl heroes that everybody knows off the bat.
I mean, I would say Poison Ivy, Harley, Catwoman, and then somebody, but Silver Banshee and Big Bart out of nowhere. It's like, that's
you're
pretty
throwing
crazy.
Like New Gods and shit at me.
Crazy. But I liked it enough. I was actually pleasantly surprised. So I'll go 6 or 7.5. I said, you're going 7.5, 8. You got to decide.
Yeah, somewhere it'll probably be like 7, 8. I don't know if it was 8 quality yet.
Yeah. But, no. I think that it's not, there's not enough here to go, but for 99 cents, you might be, there's worse things to buy for 99 cents.
It'll get another 99 cents out of me until something, ruins my appetite for it.
And we have this, you have Injustice 2, which is great and worth, if you get that digitally, that's worth every bit of the 99 cents those chapters cost. And then coming up, they have that new Bombshell series that Marguerite Benet is. I don't know if it's rebooting it or continuing.
I don't know if it's a new season or just getting
it seems like a season or whatever it is.
Interest again.
That's what I think. I think that it got kind of long in the tooth that people kind of stopped buying it, so they wanted to kind of dig it up. But if you like Bombshells, I think that you'd probably like this, and it's cool. Supergirl's in it, so this is way better than the Supergirl book we get from Steve Orlando. So I'm hoping that it continues being as good. So we're always looking for that Justice League book. This could possibly be the you might have a crazy. People were even saying this week and on the podcast that a lot of people are starting to get a little itchy of switching up teams. Now, this is a crazy team. If this is the team, Silver Banshee, Big Bart, Harley Quinn, Catwoman, and Supergirl, and I expect them just to keep adding more characters. So we'll see how it goes. But that is it for the bonus spotlight. Thanks for doing it, Brandon, and thanks everybody for the support. And I guess I'm trying to think. I think that this week, me and Reggie are going to do the Sandman special as a bonus spotlight. And I think right now Aquaman is still winning for the week for the regular spotlight. And I just want to remind everybody, if you're listening, that on Friday is when the spotlight will come out. Any Reggie book, and that is a Reggie book, that the bonus or the actual spotlight, instead of coming out Thursday, will actually come out. The Patreon spotlight will be coming out Friday, because that's when we meet with Reggie, because he has a Mixler show on Thursday night. So we can't do the stuff with him, but that's cool. It just comes out a day later. And I do think that full out, we're going to be doing Dark Knight Metal for our regular, general population spotlight. And just because we're here and we're doing this, you have read Metal as well as I have. And I'm afraid Eric is not going to like it.
I know.
But on my first read through and first glance, whatever, my first smell of it, I liked it. I thought
too.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's got me all on board
crazy
for all these side tie-ins and everything. I want to read everything. So
yeah, I'm with you too. I'm going to be doing it all. But yeah, Eric is going to review that book, and I'm afraid that he's not going to like it as much as me and you. And then he's going to be like out there like a hater. But he has this deal. He doesn't like when they play around with, you know, explanations and continuity changes and things like that.
Knowledge bombs on everybody.
Yeah, he's gonna be mad at me. But yeah, I did like it. But look for that. That'll come out on Thursday. Like I said, if it's Aquaman for the Patreon spotlight, that'll come out on Friday, and then we'll see what else we have planned for the weekend, and that'll be that. I think that this weekend we're gonna have the Detective Comics #1. That first part will go general, and so we will have on the Patreon the part 2 when all shit hits the fan. Did you read that fully through yet?
No, it's coming either from Amazon today or tomorrow.
Okay.
I still haven't got it because I didn't do the Prime shipping, so they're taking their sweet time.
Oh my goodness gracious! From the beginning of those first 3 issues that we did the first episode, we're like, oh, we were pretty positive. Like, yeah, this is pretty good. It goes downhill. It really does. And also, I think me and Eric this weekend are recording our next one. It's actually Red Lanterns is up next, and I've read that. And that's
be all over that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And also, I think this weekend as well, me and my kids are going to record our next one with a Jim's Court. That's actually going to be a vote for the listeners to vote on something important in the Werner family. I'm going to lay it out there right now. It involves getting Christmas presents early. And Logan is already working on his speech.
Trying to cash in his chips?
Oh yeah. They all want their Christmas presents early. And I will be there to tell people how much of a disaster that has been every year they convince me to do it. This is the year I finally put my foot down. The Christmases at the Werner residence are the most miserable Christmases you can get, because by the time the 25th comes, there's no presents to be had.
They owe you money by the time 20.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they've all had their presents since August, and then they cry and get upset, and they think that it's a scam, that I'm going to feel bad and get them more presents, and that does not happen. But
money is not a scam.
No, it is not. Now, I will tell you that on the side deal, Rafe has already gotten a Christmas present because he pre-ordered Madden football on the Xbox.
Oh, he wanted it early.
Yeah, he wanted it right away. He wanted that early access. So I did allow
that. Tell him to not spend the rest of his damn money on those stupid Madden points.
No, that's what he'll do. No, and then today, Ethan comes up to me and says, hey, can we get some early presents? I'm like, we've talked about this, and and he's like, well, I really want to get this this add-on pack for Call of Duty. I'm like, no, the one year Ethan spent his entire Christmas just buying add-on packs. Rafe spends his entire Christmas on Madden points and cards, and then by the end they're like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that every time.
I've never spent a dime on any of those.
No, why would you? And Rafe this year. He's a big 2K, NBA 2K guy. He's skipping that this year, and he's going full out Madden, he says. So that's his big deal. Yeah, we'll see what's going on with that.
Yeah, all those sports games are getting way too into those microtransactions.
Yeah, that's all it is. And that's because now you have your ultimate team, and you have to get this, and you're going to get that. And even the pre-orders, that's all the pre-orders are. And I'm like, okay, we spend $15 more to get it 2 days early, but also but you get an ultimate card of either Tom Brady or Randy Moss. He's going through this whole thing. I'm like, they are giving you something that doesn't cost them anything and raising the price. That's ridiculous. They don't listen. They don't listen. All they do is watch. Race already is watching these YouTubers, and he's all mad. He's like, why do you have to have a shitty podcast? Why can't you be a YouTuber that gets all the games early? So I'm sorry. I'm saying I have the comics early. I'm telling them all these things. I don't want to play a broken early game.
No. Give it to me when it's fixed and rolling good.
Yeah. And then he says, the other one, he's like, if you were a YouTuber, like your stupid podcast was a YouTube thing, and you were doing the games, you would have been able to go visit and meet James Harden. I'm like, who wants to meet James Harden? He's like, this guy. He wants to. I said, I don't need to meet James Harden.
I know. I have nothing in common with James Harden. What am I doing?
No.
I
He's
like
got that
basketball
goddamn
too.
beard. Yeah, James. Yeah, that's it. James Harden. He has that fucking celebration where it looks like he's eating pasta. I like pasta, but I don't need that. Or he's eating soup, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's like supposed to be sipping soup. It always looks to me like he's eating spaghetti.
Ask him why he scored 4 points in Game 7 last year.
Because he, and also ask him when he's going to play a lick of defense. I'm telling you, ever watch the Shaq and the Fool where Shaq has those? They're the best. Yeah. Oh, it's the best. And every time that James Harden just lets another guy go in for an uncontested layup. Actually, I have to admit, last year, his defense got a little better. He seemed to actually up his game slightly more than he did
tries
before.
To do my lazy basketball trick when I was dead tired. I would let someone go by me and try to
put your arm out
around and get them.
That's all you do. Oh, anybody who's played basketball does that move. You put your arm out, and you're like, oh well. Basically, it's half the time he doesn't even do that. But we were talking about me and you starting a sports podcast. Maybe we'll have to do it. See this?
It'll definitely just go off randomly. I could just randomly talk about sports.
Just yell about James Harden.
Yeah. For anybody I hate, that could go on forever.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot. If you're like me, there's a lot of. I think I hate more guys in sports than I like.
I like the shittiest teams in the NHL and the NFL. Yeah, really, so I mean, I only have hate in my head.
That is true. That is true. Well, finally, the Sixers should be good this year, so I can watch them with my son and do that and all that. But yeah, that is it. That is the end of the podcast. Again, thanks everybody for their support. Thanks, Brandon, for coming by.
No problem.
And we'll see you in a little bit. What do we say at the end? Is it power down?
Power down that Patreon spotlight.
Oh,